Hey everybody, I wanted to take some time in this video to just sort of explain what this class is going to be mostly about and the kinds of essays we're going to be writing in this class. So obviously this is composition 2, right? So you've already taken composition 1 by now, so you might have some ideas of what composition's about, the different approaches to writing an essay, the different kinds of essays that we write, stuff like that. So this class is going to focus on literature. We're going to be reading, as you see, one of your homework assignments for week 2 is our first short story, Araby by James Joyce. We're going to read like 4 or 5 short stories that are going to be the basis for our first essay. And then our second essay is going to be about poetry. Don't freak out. I promise that I have probably some better ways of thinking about poetry and analyzing it than maybe you've encountered in the past. We will make that as painless as we can. I think I have some good poems picked out, so don't freak out, drop the class or anything. It'll be okay, I promise. I'll be there. So poetry is the second unit, and then the third unit is going to be we're going to read a play for that unit. Not Shakespeare, promise. Not going to be Shakespeare. Something pretty recent, actually. I think it's written like 1980. Very good play. So the focus of this course is going to be literature, and in that way it's probably different than what you did in Composition 1. Maybe you did like some kind of writing about art in Composition 1. I usually do that. I don't know if other people do that. But it's okay if you haven't. I will give you the whole kind of introduction here. So yeah, we're going to be writing about literature, short stories in the first unit. The first thing that I want to kind of think about, and this is why I gave you might have been a little confused reading that essay about Pokemon or seeing that I'm asking you to watch a SpongeBob video this week. But the reason that we're doing those things is because the number one question that I want to try to answer in this these first couple of weeks is, what is literary analysis? When you write about literature, the essay is called a literary analysis essay. So what does that mean is the first question. Then next week, I'm going to try to answer the question of why do we do it? Why is it important to do? Why is it worth our time to care about? I think that's an important question that you probably haven't gotten an answer to. But I think we all have written about a piece of literature before, right? We probably have all had to write about, Shakespeare or Mice and Men or something like that. We've read books in school, and the focus is maybe usually on reading the books, but then we always end up writing essays about them too. And I think that, from my own experience, I think that high school and even, the first few years of college do a pretty bad job of explaining like what these essays are and like what the point of them is. So I'll just say first of all that it's not just summary, right? You might have done before like a book report, right, where you just kind of summarize the text and you tell them, okay, here's what happened. First this happened, then this happened. And you just kind of explain what happened in the story. That's not what literary analysis is. It's more than just summary. You're going to have to include some summary because the things that happen in the story are going to kind of be the evidence for the argument that you're going to make. And you're going to be making an argument which should already tell you that it's not going to be just summary, right? Because there's no argument in summarizing something. It's just here's what happened. And it's like, okay, cool. I can just read the book myself, though. I don't necessarily need that. Or like, there's probably already a lot of summaries written if it's a famous book. So I don't really know. There wouldn't be any reason for us to do that kind of summary or whatever. Another thing that you might have had to do before that we're not going to be doing in this class. Another thing that literary analysis isn't is it's not just kind of an overview of the author's personal life. I remember having to do this. I think when I read To Kill a Mockingbird in high school. The essay for that was like, oh, look back at Harper Lee's life and connect what happens in her life to what happens in To Kill a Mockingbird. So, it's like you end up writing a 6-page essay where, like, Harper Lee was from the South. Also, Scout in the story from the South. How about that? Harper Lee's father, he was a lawyer. In the story, the character's father, they were a lawyer too. This is kind of what literary analysis was in like the 50s, People used to be really focused on the author and their intentions and what were they trying to do and how did the author's personal life affect what the story is. And maybe there's like some value to that, but I don't think that should be our main focus with the literary analysis essay. So if that isn't what it is, then what is it? A literary analysis essay should make an argument about the message that you think the story is sending. You'll see how we're going to do this. Okay, with the Pokemon essay, for example, we're going to have our discussion on that this week. You can see that that essay is kind of trying to say that Pokemon sends this sort of message about animal rights, you know, and that essay has a very particular view on it. It thinks that it's sending kind of a bad message, right? Kind of a negative message that it says, you know, it's okay to trap animals or to have them fight or to use them for your own happiness, to make them make them perform for you as the human, you know. And then as it says, you know, that Pokemon sends this kind of message about animal rights. So I had us read that, and I'll save this for discussion, but I had us read that because that is a good example of a literary analysis essay and what it tries to do. I don't think that's a perfect essay, but it does the thing that literary analysis should try to do, which is make an argument about a message. So having an argument, it needs to be debatable, right? Our thesis has to be debatable. It has to be possible that somebody could argue against you. Again, in that Pokemon essay, I usually have a lot of students who will argue against it and be like, no, I don't think that's what it's doing, or like they're, you know, going overboard or whatever. And that's fine. We can have these arguments. So along with the idea of your argument being debatable is that there isn't one like ultimate, like the correct answer, right? It's not like a math equation where we can you know, just do this plus this, and now Pokemon is against animal rights. It's all about the evidence that you have to back up your claim, and that evidence, like I said, is going to come from the story itself. Also, some outside research, you know, because we want to see like what other people have written about these stories, and see whether we agree with them or not, and you know how to kind of go with that. So like the research can be evidence too, but your primary evidence is going to be what happens in the actual story. That's how you're going to back up the argument that you're making. So what I'm asking you to do with this SpongeBob assignment is I'm kind of asking you to do the literary analysis. The Pokemon assignment was showing you someone else doing it. Now with the SpongeBob assignment, I'm kind of asking you, what message does it send about going on strike and the rights of workers and stuff like that? So what we're doing right here is literary analysis. We're looking at a piece of art and we're asking what message does it send. We're answering the questions of the message that it sends with an argument, and we will have our evidence to back us up. So that's kind of what literary analysis is, and hopefully we'll get a better understanding once we do our discussion boards this week. And then next time, I will try to answer the question of why I think it's important to do literary analysis and why I think you should care about it. So yes, we'll be moving on to that. All right, I think that's what I have for now. As always, please email me any questions that you have about this. I'd be happy to answer them, or post them in the discussion board somewhere, something like that. And yeah, I will see you in the next video.